not like break out per se, but I think it'll be a good opportunity for me to show like who I really am and like what I can do. Because like me just being confident, I think I can win the whole thing and then I can submit everybody. The things that you tell yourself. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for me to show that like I'm at that high level. I feel like I know I am, and all my teammates know that I am because we train every day. But I haven't really got to show that, so I think it's a great opportunity for me to show that like I'm up there.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're excited. We have a very talented young man who will be joining us here in just a second. Here, not looking like a hostage, very much of his own volition and accord, wanting to be here for this interview. At least that is what he has been instructed to say. But before we get to him, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, if you like the show, and I hope that you do, or even the guests, I would love it if you go to patreon.com/grappling hour. And if you go there for just $5 a month, you can see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you can see extra bonus content, including never before seen other episodes. We do specialized episodes like the Grappling Hour Challenge. Most recently, we had our friend Chris Wojcik. We gave him a card. It has a submission on it. He has 2 minutes to get that on me, but I get to roast him. There's another segment called Roast Draft, which is everybody's favorite segment that a dear friend, I'm sure, of the person on the other line here, one Gary Tonin roasted my competition footage, which was actually... It was an interesting day at the office that day because I was hoping Gary would be funnier. And he was only so funny that day. You know what I mean? I guess he's only so funny in real life. Anyway, nonetheless, we're asking for a lot from this man. So that is what we have going on there. You can also, if you like that stuff, again, patreon.com/grappling hour, extra episodes there for just a few extra dollars more. Additionally, if you want to like, comment, and subscribe, that does a huge service to us here on the show. So be sure, if you like this stuff, tell us in the comment section. If you have no idea what you want to comment on in the comment section, by the end of this interview, I will give you a prompt based probably somewhat on our discussion here. Last couple of reminders, you also know that you can get Grappling Hour merch. If you head to rafasparza.com/merch, all the proceeds that go into that make their way back into the show, whether it's equipment, travel, lots of other random stuff. So be on the lookout for that. And last but not least, if you want to continue the conversations that we have here on the show, you can head on over to our Discord. That's what it is. Took me a second there. We have a Discord. You can find it at Grappling Hour. All right, let's talk about this young man. Well, what do we say about this kid that hasn't already been said on the mats or on the competition scene? You've probably seen his work all over the greater parts of the U.S. on the competition scene, whether it's ADCC or winning an Enigma belt. And then when he wins the Enigma belt, he shows up to the PGF Draft, which is not Enigma. I should point that out. But felt so happy that he was wearing that belt and he looked like $1,000,000. Having said that, we did have a joke that I'm not sure he heard today that we did on our PGF draft review. I'll tell him the joke as per tradition on this show to his face, but I think it's a pretty apt joke. I'm not sure what he feels about it, but nonetheless, we're happy to welcome to the very first time on the show a qualifier winner for the PGF, a all-around good and nice kid. Please welcome Landon Elmore. Landon, how are you doing, sir?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you. Can you walk me through your fit, like what you wore to the PGF draft? I just want to see from your perspective what the style you were going for was.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I work at an ice cream place, and the ice cream place had like like not a prom, but like a prom basically, and you had to wear some kind of white and red. So I bought that stuff for like the ice cream place's prom, and I was like, that's the only nice clothes I have. Let me just wear it to the draft. So I ended up wearing my like maroon pants and then my white like long sleeve button up, and then I went and bought dress shoes like the night before.
God bless, young kid. Here's what I thought you looked like, and you can tell me up or down. You look like you were shopping from the McLovin section of the store because when you came in, I'm like, listen, dude, I know you as a killer. Having said that, you do look like you're trying to buy some underage alcohol here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't usually dress like that. That's the thing is like when I saw there was a dress code, I was like, so I was like, I have to look as nice as I can. I guess clearly it didn't look that good, but
You know,
I tried
here's the
to
thing. Here's the thing.
very all that matters.
You showed up dressing up, and I have to be honest with you, Landon, you weren't the worst dressed. So we need to be very clear. There are levels to this, and the reason why I say this to you is I have a feeling that as you get older, I think you're going to be on bigger and better stages. And I think when that happens, you know, you got to dedicate a little bit of the money that you receive just to put it toward that. Like, I just want to make sure that you're not roasted by people like me in the future. Now, granted, I want to make sure that I have the opportunity to still roast you in the future, but I would prefer it comes from a friend as opposed
Yeah,
from strangers on the internet television.
I get that. No, I won't be there in the future. Don't worry. I'll work on my outfits.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Because again, we don't know if this is your first appearance at the PGF. I don't know if it's going to be your 20th, your 10th. I mean, you're young, so it looks like you might be here for a while. And I don't know if you get this, but this rocket ship continues to go up as more and more people watched it. Did you get any reactions from your family, your friends from the draft? And if so, what were some of the best ones you got?
Well, okay, so actually my grandfather has never seen me dressed that way. It's just funny they bring that up. So he texted me and he was like, "You dress like that?" He's like, "I can't believe it." So he thought it was really cool. Um,
Well,
I
to
had my
be
parents.
fair, and I don't know how old your grandfather is. I don't want to assume anything because I, comparatively to you, am very old. But it might have seemed from a time on Yonder where, like, he might have seen somebody dress up and give out ice cream like that. And it would have been
Yeah,
like, damn, dude, I remember people dressed up like that. Because to me, I was like, it's not that you look bad. There's a big difference between bad and this kid has never had to get dressed up before. And that's usually where we start to see things. And I don't know if you have to do a fashion show at your gym and be like, here's what I'm wearing. Because Christos showed up and Christos had a watch, and that watch saved his outfit. And then when I told him that, he was like, oh, yeah, Gordon gave me this watch. And I was like, no shit. It was so that people would look at something other than your outfit and say, like, wow, this kid's got something to him. And he's like, what? And I was like, it's like a conversation starter. So anyway, your grandpa said that you looked good. How did that conversation come up? And what did he think of the draft?
He thought it was really cool. He doesn't really like know who anyone else is. He was just there to watch me, but he's pretty invested. So he'll like he was asking me who certain people are. Like he was asking me like why that kid Jet went for so much. I had to like explain to him who he was. So it was cool. I just got to explain it to him. My parents watched it as well. They just thought it was interesting that I went for as low as I did. But they didn't. They didn't really care. They just said it would be fun.
When you say you went for as low as you did you have expectations to go for a different price? And if so, what about did you think you were going to go for?
Well, in the mock draft, I went for like 2,900, and I was like, that's pretty good in my opinion. So I was like, if I go for at least above like 25, like, it'd be great for me. Um, and then I went for 16, and I was like, oh dang, it wasn't like I wasn't like disappointed. I was more just like, oh, like I didn't expect that. Like I'm so grateful for what I got. I think that's amazing, but it was just not what I expected.
It's also hard not to get caught up in the moment when other people are going for certain prices. So I think what ends up happening is all of you are competitive and you heard, oh, did that person go for that much? Huh. Okay. Do you feel like you could have sold yourself better? Like, what do you feel you could have done differently to drive up that price?
I mean, I think I did great on my own. I wouldn't change it. I think it's just the way things went. I mean, I can't really. People are going to spend what they want to spend on me. Like, it's not like Andy got me for a great price, so I'm happy about that. Like, I don't think I could have done anything different. I'm happy with what I said.
I mean, here's the good news. I think a lot of the teams ended up pretty balanced. And I was surprised by that because I can see star performers in every single team, and that's not always the case. So whether that unfolds like that is another thing. But I would agree. I thought you were kind of a steal value, and I was actually very surprised because I would have had you going for more. Things happened, but nonetheless, you did get some show money, which is unusual for most other tournament sort of situations. So I'm sure that's a huge plus. And not to be offensive here, but when you're what, 18 right now? How old are you?
I'm 18.
That's what I thought. To 18-year-olds, $1,600 might as well be $16,000. Like,
it's a lot of Pokemon cards.
Oh God, is that what you're spending yours on too?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so concerning. Like, legitimately, we're gonna hire a financial consultant that just sits you guys down and tells you how to spend your money wisely.
I put money away, and then the rest is for the things I enjoy. So that's food and Pokemon cards.
Is that all you enjoy? Because you and JJ Bowers have something in common here. Were you at all talking with him about his Pokemon collection?
Yeah. He brought some to the draft, so we were talking about it, and then he was texting me after. He was asking about this app that I use to track like the value of the stuff I have. So he's a cool dude.
Were you impressed with the Pokemon collection that he did bring?
Yeah, I thought it was sick. He had a lot of good stuff. I was like, ooh.
Did it ever occur in your head to challenge him for his Pokemon cards? Because to me, they don't mean much, but I know they're expensive. But to you, I'm pretty sure you're like, hey man, if you're good at your jiu-jitsu, do you wanna put up that Charizard? Like, first to tap gets that, right? Like, did that at any point cross your mind?
Not that situation specifically, but I thought like I could bring my cards to Vegas and then we could talk about trading.
Okay.
I didn't think about like actual like I didn't think about like a bet match. I was just like, oh, like maybe we could like talk.
This is how I appreciate the differences between generations in that, a friend of mine, a guy who beat me on points that is in my division, he recently won a championship belt. And I congratulated him. He's the nicest guy, legitimately the nicest nemesis. And somebody who's beaten me twice by points. So, like, I want to get one back. And I saw that belt and I sent him a text. I was like, bro, I'm coming for that belt. Like, legitimately, I don't know what you want of mine, but I want to take that from you. And this dude is so nice. He just goes, well, winner gets coffee. And I was like, I don't know that he understood what I meant, but I love this dude and I got to get one of these back. And I feel like if I saw he was at a random tournament and they came out with this beautiful belt. And all I could think of was like, how do I get that belt without having entered that thing? Interesting. But nonetheless, that's a very friendly thing that you're pointing out here between you and JJ. So, okay. You put some of the other stuff away. Is there any other indulgences you have? Because might I argue here, maybe, just maybe, instead of Pokemon cards, we work on getting like a suit or like some other dress clothes so that you don't have to tell people like, oh, I used my ice cream dress up clothes.
I knew you were gonna say that.
It's such hey, so let me tell you this, okay? When you guys were competing and doing all this, you don't have to get dressed up. But I have a very big policy that I tell to a lot of young men where I say, hey, young man, you're at an age now. Every young man should have at least one suit because you need it for weddings, you need it for funerals, you need it for special occasions, and you never know when you need it, but at least one good suit. And when I was your age, the way you competed in jiu-jitsu right now is the way I competed in speech and debate. And we had to be in a suit every weekend. So that meant multiple suits. So I learned that life very quickly. And I'm so glad that I did because I have seen grown adults be like, I don't have a suit. And they're like 35. And I go, you should know better. You're 18. It's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, wait. In your opinion, who is the best dressed then?
That's a great question.
Don't say Chris Oliva.
Why can't I say Chris Olivo?
That dude look like a white fox.
So the joke we did on the show today was I said he looked like a bisexual bounty hunter. And how do I put this? You know what I have to say? I have to respect the commitment from Chris. But having said that, I don't know that anybody wowed me. If anything, everybody was on a scale of like, no, or oh, it's not bad. And like even some people who didn't necessarily fit my radar, like Anthony Molina Velez, he wore just like a tactical black and black slacks. And I thought that's perfectly stand out. Like it's just him not trying, but at the same point, not looking bad. And I go, that's middle of the road shit. Somebody who, like, I think the boys like Zach Schneider, who wore a little bit of color in their shirt, I thought those were pretty good. But yeah, man, nobody stood out to me. It's hard because the last season we had Cam Hurd and we had Kyle Chambers. And would we name Kyle the number one dressed? Cam Hurd had words for me and was just like, how come I didn't get it? And I go, look at Kyle Chambers. Like, look at what that man's wearing. And he's like, I was dressed better than him. And I go, ugh, no. So, yeah, it's hard because, again, most grapplers aren't going to pay attention to that. So that's why I actually, for today's show, had to get screenshots of everything that you guys wore and go bit by bit by bit. So I'll send you a link to it. But we did make fun of everybody. So you can hear my thoughts on that episode. But my overall thoughts are, what for you, what did it feel like getting drafted to Team Andy, Team Varela? Like, what was the general consensus? Because honestly, a pretty solid team all around, dude.
Dude, I mean, I was really happy. Like, you can ask Christos. Like, I was talking to him before. Like, we were talking, and we were both like, we hope we get on Team Varela. So the whole time, I'm just like, I hope Andy drafts me. I just think he's a cool, like, I like his style. I think he's a cool dude. So I was like, I think we would like vibe well. And I was right. I mean, we have a great team. We have like his student Brady, you know, Armin Bruni. Yeah, we got a bunch of other people, and we have Mike John. So I think it's a good team. I think he built a solid team, in my opinion.
Again, I feel like from a numbers perspective, if you get somebody like a Mike John that is hitting up chokes and he's got guillotines, that's super helpful. And, you know, I mentioned this and I won't name names, but I feel like every team has a big three. And if all of those teams' big threes can deliver numbers, it's going to be a very interesting season. But in my opinion, not everybody delivers from their big three. So we'll see how your team does. But I really do feel like you guys, you've got a good variety to who you've got. And there's a lot of the guys who are going to be staying, if not in Vegas, but relatively close. Now, you increase those, don't necessarily live there, but it's not super far. So was there talk of potentially getting together to like train out there, or are you guys kind of assembling Voltron like the week of or before?
Fly out like 2 days before, maybe train like a day in Andes. We haven't really like super talked about it. But I mean, that was like the general plan. He mentioned like once.
That's nice. I actually went there. I went to train at 10th Planet the day after the draft. And it's kind of wild, man, because I was rolling with Brady a little bit. And it's my first time rolling with Brady, just kind of downloading what it is he does and seeing what he does well. And I thought, oh, man, this is really good. So a lot of little surprises that I'm seeing from different people on different teams. And it made me kind of happy to know that sprinkling what I've seen you do, I'm really intrigued to see how your style is going to translate into this format. So have you watched previous seasons of the PGF? Are you glad it's 6 weeks rather than just 6 days in a row of insane draft to competition to finale?
I think the format is really cool. I think I watched like I watched season 6 and 7. I just know I watched the 171 um, and the recent one. I didn't get to watch anything before that, but I thought they were really cool. I had always hoped to be on it. That's like why I did the qualifier, because I was like, oh, I really want to be on PGF. So yeah, that's just partly why. I think the 5 weeks is good for jiu-jitsu to get people to tune in over a longer period of time. Although I do wish I could have experienced like the week-long thing, because everyone I've talked to says it's like terrible. So I'm like, that would have been a cool experience, but I also like this new format.
Yeah, you say that. And you honestly, as a young person, probably would have been okay. But
Yeah.
I saw the equivalent of young men who went to war and then would stare at you like they've seen some of their fellow soldiers die in battle. They'd have this real deadness to their eyes, and I'm interviewing them like at the end of the show and just going like, "What'd you feel about today?" And they would just look so done, like, it was good, man. I really enjoyed today's competition. I go, oh my God, I think they're dead on the inside. Shit. So there's a part of me that feels, yeah, it's maybe better you didn't. But you're also a young person. And the people who have excelled have been young people in terms of resiliency and bone just kind of reserved and coming back. Jed is a great example of that, of like, he was the perfect person, perfect time during his season in 6, because it's hard to break him. Kind of like rubber. And he's a kid who would come back and literally he's having a blast while other people are dying. So
Yeah.
that was something that's a lot to take in. I did want to ask about the qualifying process. So you said you were watching and you kind of got intrigued doing it. Now that means as you're really ingesting all of this, you're what, 16, 17 at the time, right?
Yeah, I would have just turned 18, because when I did my first qualifier was in January.
Okay.
And my birthday is in October. So I'm like freshly 18.
Well, congratulations, young man. You can vote now. That's a responsibility. Do that. But I would tell you, for you, when you look at this, and it's also new, when you did go through the qualifiers, you said you did it a first time. So what was that first experience like? Because doing the ADCCs, which you're not lost upon, it's a different experience. This is just a little different in its intensity, and I'm sure just its, I guess, unexpectedness. Because even though it may not be as like big in size of the venue for ADCC, there is a lot of stakes, and it does feel like pressure from people who we've interviewed. So what did it feel like for your experience the first time?
I mean, it just felt like any other like tournament to me. Like as far as being nervous goes, like I don't really like hype things up in my own head. Like, oh my gosh, this is a PGF qualifier, or oh my gosh, this is ADCC Open. So like the first one was in Alabama. That was a sick experience. I more just see like the excitement in it rather than like being nervous about losing. So to me, it was just a cool experience, like to hang out there. I got to meet Brandon. I thought it was cool.
I mean, it's undeniably cool. I cannot get over that enough. It's just, I think perhaps to people, sometimes they build it up in their head. So I'm glad you have that right mentality. It's the right place to be. And you have good people who I know help you get in and dialed in competition wise. But you did qualify. And where and when did that happen? Because I should apologize. I reached out to you and said, I owe you an interview and I wanted to set it up. And then we were on hold. So there was a part of me of like, are you going to still be in it? When are we doing this? How is this working? And so I had to like hold all my interviews because not everybody who qualified ended up doing the season. So
Exactly.
you better believe that I was happy when I heard that you were going to come through, because I like your work. I've seen it. You're a beast. I think you'll do well in it. So what was the reaction like for you when you did hit the qualification process in that moment when it looked like we were going to do the season a little bit earlier in the year?
I mean, again, like I said, I was really excited. I mean, no matter how it turned out, I just wanted to be a part, because I like Brandon and what he does. So I didn't really mind what was happening. Like I know it was supposed to be in March, and then it got moved. So I was like, I don't mind. I'll stick with this no matter what because I worked hard to be there. I had to fight 3 consecutive finals to actually qualify. So I was like, I don't care what happens, just put me in, please.
So I understood that now your kind of vices are doing Pokemons. But when you did qualify, did you do anything to mark the occasion? Was there any kind of way you celebrated? Like, because to me, that's a kind of cool moment. And sure, relatively speaking, you don't want to celebrate too early, but it is a notable achievement. And it is cool to be put into this bigger thing that's continuing to build in terms of getting people excited for grappling.
I think that night I was so tired. I think I just came home, showered. I think I had pizza, if I remember correctly, and I went to bed because I was so tired. Like I couldn't even. I think the next day I went to go eat like Korean barbecue. Like that was my celebration. I went to go eat Korean barbecue. But like that night specifically, like I just got my eye poked too, so I was like, just let me go to bed.
Did you feel any remnants from that? Because you mentioned the eye poke, and I vaguely remember that now. But did you have any lasting effects for a few days from that, or was it just one of those you need to sleep it off and see where you're at tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes and you're kind of okay?
I didn't have any effects on my vision, but my like half of my eye was just completely red for like a good month. Like no vision effects. I could see perfectly, but just it was really funny. Like half of my eye looked like completely red. Like from Naruto where they have like the Sharingan. That's what I felt like.
I'm so sorry. You have to remember you're talking to an old person. What the hell did you just reference? What were you just referencing there?
I don't know. I haven't seen Naruto. It's just like an anime.
Okay.
But I like I feel I'm gonna feel stupid explaining this. I just know that whenever they like do certain things, like their eye will completely turn red, and I got that a lot. They said that's what it looks like because my eye was like literally like almost.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that because
It'll make sense after you see it after this. I haven't seen Naruto, but I just know that's what's in it.
again, God bless you. Thank you for that. Because when you drop this reference in there, I had a moment where I go, oh, of course. Wait, no, I don't know what that is. And I'm not going to just nod my head and be like, oh, yeah, for sure. If I don't know what it is, I'll usually ask. So you're now a young person correspondent to me. So now I'm going to ask you to tell me the old, all of the important young people things. But okay. So you qualify, there's kind of some up or down in terms of when it's going to happen. And then an even more fascinating thing happens. And I guess we can go more into detail for it. But why did you feel the need to bring the Enigma belt? You mentioned it on the microphone, but visually, the way it looked like to me was I saw you holding the belt before you got the chance to explain why on the microphone when you were up for bid. So to me, I just thought like, oh my God, this kid looks like a Pro Wrestling International Continental Champion. And he's just wearing it, and your posture is very much like, yes, this is a belt. And no one else had a belt. So I was just curious why you felt the need to bring that one.
Well, like 20% of it is because I kind of had no choice. Like I flew from Arkansas, where I won the belt, straight to the draft, and so I didn't have to pay $75 to take it on the plane. I just wore it and put like my hoodie over it. So I kind of like already had it on. But like the other 80% was that I wanted to stand out, and it's a 155 belt, and that's what the weight class is. So I thought that would like stand out to people, like, oh, this guy's good at 155. So
Did you think you would get any blowback from it? Because, again, a few factors here. You're a young kid, you're all of 18, you're wearing a belt. There are people there who do not have a belt on. Maybe some who you've had matches with, maybe some you will have matches with very soon. Everybody sizing each other up. And there's this skinny kid with a large belt that's almost bigger than them. who's about to go up for auction. So did you think out all these things when you were like, well, I guess I brought it, so I might as well just bring it into the draft? Did you take that into your factored consideration there?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like 80% of it was like of my own volition. Like I was like, I'm gonna bring this belt to the draft. I don't really care what people think. Like, what are they gonna say? Like, oh my god, you have a belt that you just won? Like, nerd. I literally just won. So I imagine that I would only get compliments, and that's what happened.
Oh, so they did compliment you. The other competitors did say like, "Hey, man, congrats."
Yeah, everyone was super cool. I didn't get anyone that was like, "Wow, man, you brought a belt." Like, everyone was sick.
Everyone is much nicer than me. Okay. I
Yeah.
just realized now because I couldn't help it if I was competing against you or in a competition setting where I wouldn't be like, what's with the belt, bro? Like, why'd you bring that? I can't imagine I wouldn't have done that. But it sounds like a pretty sweet group of kids. I just thought when you get like an Anthony Gojani there or a Chris Olivo that looks at you and they're trying to play the heel, it feels like there's a target on your back because you've got this large belt and it's almost asking for somebody to say something about you. So not even them said anything to you like that.
No, well, like I think Gojani is really cool to me, and so is Chris. Um, even if they did, like it wouldn't matter. I'm confident in my own like self. Like if they said something, I'd be like, okay, bro, I'll say something back. But Gojani was really cool to me. Even Chris, I said what's up to Chris. He's a nice dude. I think everyone just likes to play a persona like online and when you're hyping it up, which is really cool. But in person, they both were like super chill. I mean, I even hung out with Gojani after, so he's a cool dude.
I guess that's a good question. What was that like? Because you're right. Everybody's a sweetheart to me. So
Yeah.
I see everybody when they're out of character. And I don't necessarily think anything of it because I don't know that we're considered threats as friends who are mostly promoting the show. Now, granted, it's early in the season. Once they start hearing some of the jokes we do, I don't know. I don't know what happens. But
Mhm.
I did see that Anthony was being a sweetheart to people. Chris, as much as he's playing this Lenny Kravitz esque, very stoic, like, I'm just doing what I do. Like, still incredibly nice. So, what was dinner like that night? Because if you guys all go to dinner, now you start having people who are on different teams and you increase those are part of a team. So I'm sure that kind of fulfills a certain kind of dynamic. But what did it feel like to be around everybody after the draft was all said and done?
After the draft, I think I mainly just hung around. I know me, Christos, and Gojani both. We all went to Panda Express, so that was cool. I mean, we were
Wait, of all places to go, y'all went to Panda Express. Who made that
what
call? Because I'll be honest,
Panda Express.
no, there's nothing wrong with it. That's exactly where somebody like me would have gone. The top contenders for me are like a Panda Express, a Taco Bell. Um, I'm trying to think of all of the garbage food that I have. Like, I cannot tell you how many nights I have come home and the wife goes, Panda Express, and I've never said no. There's never been a moment where I've been like, no.
Panda Express.
Okay, okay.
Um, well, also partly because our Uber was like the location was really weird, and I looked up and Panda Express was like right across the street, and I was like, guys, why don't we just go to Panda Express? And they were like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. So we like it, and it was also kind of like our only option. So
It does sort of invite, yeah, this is the best option possible because it's the only option. But this is the time to judge you. You mentioned two sets of foods that I have not followed up on. What is your pizza topping order of choice? And then tell me your panda order of choice, sir.
my Panda order is really basic. I just get like double orange chicken, fried rice, and then I'll get like an egg roll if I feel like it. It's nothing like crazy.
So let me get this straight. You don't do the half and half. So you go straight just full fry rice. See, I gotta split it. I usually do half and half. I think they used to call it Now it's the teriyaki chicken, but I thought they called it something else for a minute. So I get the teriyaki chicken, and then the other profile, the other side, that's on a whim. Like some days a mushroom chicken, some days beef and broccoli, and some days my wife's like, all they have is orange chicken. I'm like, fine, that none of these are bad to me. You talked about a spring roll. My wife is kind of partially getting crab wontons there, and I'm okay with it. But okay, that's good to know. Now, what's the pizza toppings of choice, sir?
If I'm not going to this place called Mod Pizza and I'm getting pizza from like anywhere else, I just get cheese and pepperoni. But when I go to this place called Mod Pizza, we can like customize your own pizza. Dude, I get like chicken, ground beef, spicy Italian sausage. I get mild Italian sausage. I get oregano. I get pesto drizzle. But I'm pretty like if you come to know me, I'll get the same things like over and over. Like I almost never change it up. Like I have the same order like everywhere. So like at Panda, I always get the double orange chicken and fried rice. Or at my pizza, I'll always get the thick crust with like a ton of meat and pesto and a bunch of stuff like that. So I have like one order for everything. So I guess for pizza toppings, it's like I guarantee is like always pepperoni, then always like some kind of meat.
Okay. I
I'm
mean,
not
listen,
a pizza guy.
wait, did you say you are or aren't a pineapple? Oh, you're not. Okay, you're normal. Okay, good. Because I don't mind pineapple in the Hawaiian sense, but any other way and variation is very confusing to me. Like I can't see a way without that specific Hawaiian style to really justify any pineapple on any pizza. But hey, listen, to each their own. That's not bad. I do like hearing this. This does bode well if you ever have to do meal preps because you see it as I get the same thing every day. Brother, I can't tell you how many variations of the same thing I eat every day, and I'm okay with it. And people wonder how I do it. And I just tell them, I'm like, oh, sometimes I'll add hot sauce and sometimes I don't. Like, sometimes I just do one small thing to modify it. Okay. So I want to kind of circle a little bit off of PGF here in a second, but like for you, what excites you about this season? Because you're going to have more eyeballs than you probably have had as a grappler on you watching your jiu-jitsu. So what excites you about this season?
I think I'll get to not like break out per se, but I think it'll be a good opportunity for me to show like who I really am and like what I can do. Because like me just being confident, I think I can win the whole thing and then I can submit everybody. The things that you tell yourself. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for me to show that like I'm at that high level. I feel like I know I am, and all my teammates know that I am because we train every day. But I haven't really got to show that, so I think it's a great opportunity for me to show that like I'm up there.
I mean, obviously, you have been doing incredibly well. So I feel like for you, yeah, it is a showcase. And I think one upside that you have, and maybe a couple others who didn't go for as much money per se, is now you guys have the ability to really put it in people's faces if you start getting submissions. Like, imagine you start justifying the amount of money you should have been paid. Very quickly, you become one of the favorites that people love. And our audience for the PGF, they really, really do become invested. I've been asking this of everybody, but I want to make sure you're good because I mentioned I would roast you, and you said, you're like, yeah, no problem. You're good.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you're ready to be a character on people's television. Are you aware with the fact that now with more eyeballs, people are going to just look at you as a certain character on their show? Are you prepared for people to not even give a shit about your jiu-jitsu, but more so be like, oh, this kid, yeah, the McLovin, I like the McLovin, he's a good kid. Like,
Yeah.
that's what they're doing.
I mean, that's never really been a concern of mine, really. I won't say I've never thought of that because I have, but it's never really been like a big concern. Like, oh my gosh, what are people going to say about me? Or, like, do I have to seem a certain way? I've always just been like myself. So whatever people say, I'm cool with. Like, people never really gotten to me per se. So that's why I don't want to say I haven't thought of it. Like I haven't like it hasn't been thought on my mind because I have, but it's also not a care of mine. Like I'm willing to just be myself and see what people say. Whether I make love or like that handsome kid on PGF, like sort of.
Here's the one thing you should know: nobody gets the up version of it. It's never like, oh, look at that handsome dude. It's always like, look at this scrawny guy. Like anything you think is your good attribute, no one brings that up. I cannot tell you how many times people will see me and be like, this dude has a big head. And I go, this isn't new news. Like, it's just the shape of the head I have. And they'll be like, look at this big head over here. I think I actually once commentated a event, BJJ Fanatics. They had a tournament, and I commentated it with Gordon. And somebody said, this dude really likes the sound of his own voice. And I thought, shouldn't you? Like, I don't want to waste your time if I didn't like myself or my voice. Like,
what does that even mean?
what it means is, and I saw this dude a little bit later on Reddit, because of course it's going to come from Reddit. And I was just like, well, I'm always curious for constructive criticism, so let's see what he says. And then I saw a profile photo of him, and it's of him. His profile photo, mind you, is of him and Gordon, like him hugging Gordon. I go, oh, this dude just is on his nuts. Oh, that's fine. He's just there for that. That's okay for me. But I do try to say, like, hey, if there's some valid criticism that makes my commentary better, have that. That's not what was happening there. So it just is a matter of taking the part of your brain that's headstrong and saying, like, oh, okay, no problem. But every once in a while, the more prominent you become, there's always one random thing. And it's not even that it's offensive. It's just that you just start laughing at it because you go, who thinks like this? So that's what I'm preparing you for, is just when you get through there, just know that every time we're doing jokes about you, hey, listen, we have a lot of appreciation for what you guys do, but we're also doing our job and making it entertaining in our way. So I'm very much looking forward to that aspect. I want to go ahead and get off that train now and go over to the other train, which is, where does jiu-jitsu begin for you? You're 18. So how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu now?
I've been training for about 6 years now. I think coming up on 7.
Okay.
7 in September. So I've been training for a while. I started when I was 12 years old.
So how did you get involved in jiu-jitsu? Were you doing other sports first? How did you find your way to the gentle art?
Well, like growing up, I played like soccer and then I played like kids t-ball. But I never really did good in like a team sport. Like I've always been good like by myself, kind of like the way jiu-jitsu is. Like it's up to you to like be on the mat and compete. So like as a kid, like I'm sure now it's but as a kid I never really did good. Like I always like for soccer, for example, I always wanted to like be the one to kick the ball in the goal. Like it's a basic example, but you know what I mean. So then growing up, I was put in those sports and I was put out because I didn't really like it. And then when I was 12 years old, my dad was like, "Do you want to do jiu-jitsu?" And I was like, "Sure." So we went to go try it out at like a Gracie Baja, and I ended up like really enjoying it. So we signed up after like a 3-day trial, and that's where the journey began.
What about it drew you? Because when you're so young, everything seems fun to do, I'm sure, for a little while, and then you can easily get out of love with it. So like, where did you kind of become drawn to this sport at the age of 12?
Well, I remember thinking it was really cool that like it's up to you to be as good as you want to be. So like if you want to be good, then it's up to you to be good. Like it's not based on like your teammate that like he might score a goal or he might not, using soccer again. Like winning is solely up to you, and that's what I really enjoy because I'm like, oh, I can do this on my own. Like that'd be amazing. And I like the creativity of it. Like you can do things with your body. Like you can be physical. Like I hadn't been exposed to like high school wrestling yet at that time. So this was like my first like exposure to something physical, and I like actually really enjoyed it. So I just liked that you could be like a solo guy, do things on your own.
So does this extend to like when you were in school doing group projects and saying like, I don't really want to be in a group? This kind of sucks.
You're gonna laugh at me, but I was homeschooled all my life. So I've never really been in group projects and stuff like that.
Well,
So
I
that may
got
be
news for you, but you are in one now. So with the PGF, you go from being this guy who's like, leave it all to me, to now you are kind of dependent. So even though you then have the experience of doing a group project in a school setting, you're about to get a crash course of what it's like to have a group project where sometimes people pull their weight, sometimes there's disagreements, and sometimes people crash and burn in that setting. So it is a little awkward, but there are definitely people who are very much like you in the sport who say, just give me the ball, I got it. And this is one of the
yeah,
times where you have to say, I got to share the ball sometimes, or I need this person to deliver on this
yeah.
run.
I mean, that's like I'm talking about when I was like 12 years old. Like, I'm obviously not that way now. Like, I could definitely be on a team and like work in a group. I'm just talking about from like a 12-year-old's perspective that like, wanted to be like the independent, like cool dude. Now I would be like, now I'm like, I don't have that same issue.
Hey, you know what? I've talked to many grown adults, far more mature than you are, who have been very clear about being like, oh, I still hate it. And they're very, very straightforward with their, yeah, dude, I don't like depending on people. So we'll see. And again, this is one of your first opportunities to get that experience, and we'll see how that goes. I always like to ask people this question, which is, when did you knew that you fell in love with jiu-jitsu as more than just a hobby? So it's one thing to just say, hey, I really like this, or I really enjoy doing these things. But for you, when did this become something that you wanted to do as more than just a hobby, but as a passion or a lifestyle?
Well, like when starting out, I didn't know that this was something that people do per se. Like, I just thought it was like a cool like hobby that people have. And then like I discovered like you can compete, and then I discovered like there's like high level athletes like Gordon, or like at the time like there was DDS. So I saw DDS and I was like, whoa, there's this high level group of people and they do this professionally. Like, I want to do that. So I'd say around like 2 years in, maybe three, I don't remember correctly, but I competed for the first time. And I won, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I definitely want to do this as a career like these people do. So I was like, I want to copy them.
Okay. Do you remember what your first competition experience was like?
It was a gi competition, and I submitted both of my opponents in like 30 seconds, and I was like, whoa, this is sick.
How'd you submit them?
It was one of them was like a no arm triangle, and the other one was like an arm bar.
I mean, not everybody gets submissions or wins when they start. So that does bode well for a future in it if you are starting to have some interest in it. But that must have felt pretty cool, all things considered. So, having said that, what has been your most memorable competition experience thus far?
Mm, That's a good question. Let me think. It's definitely like 100% the PGF Austin qualifier is up there, because I like seriously had to dig deep in order to win that. Um, this was really cool where I won Blue Belt Worlds. That was really cool because it was very like a gratifying feeling, because it was like my first like title per se. Like, I hadn't really won anything of like note. So that was like my first thing. That was really cool. And then going earlier back, um, do you remember Third Coast Grappling?
Of course.
I did a Third Coast Grappling in the gi, and I had never been on that show before, and I had always like watched it, and I got to be on there. I just remember feeling like super cool, like I was on like such a big show. So that was really cool to me. I won by triangle there. I just remember feeling really happy after I won. Like, I have like cool little like sparkly medal. So that was something that meant a lot to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember those pretty vividly. So, where are you based out of? Like, where is home for you?
Houston, Texas.
And was that always the case, or did you guys end up moving there?
Well, I live in Austin by myself, so my family has always been in Houston. Um, like, ever since I was born, we've always been in Houston. And then when I turned 16, I moved to Austin to train in New Wave. So I've spent a little bit of time here in Austin, like 3 years, but all my time in training has been in Houston since before I turned 16.
Gotcha. How has it been like to witness firsthand this incredible boon in that state? Because I remember when everybody was talking of first going to Texas, and I thought, I live in LA. We're very spoiled, dude. We had this incredible run of just champions, champions, champions. Everybody came here. Now it started to spread out. And I mean, arguably, Texas, one of the biggest hubs for jiu-jitsu. How has it felt kind of coming into that from your side? Because in some ways, you kind of lucked out. Like you don't know any different, but you are experiencing, I'm sure, even from your angle, a very incredible growth in the world of jiu-jitsu in that side.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm super blessed to be able to train with like the very best in the world. Like I can say that because like in Houston, I used to train at like after Gracie Baja, I moved to a Carlson Gracie gym, and then I moved to a no-gi only gym called the Dark Side. So I would like kind of go in between those two until I fully moved over to just no-gi at the Dark Side. So like going from like being able to train at multiple spots to like having a secure place to train is like it's a blessing. So I'm really happy to be able to be here in Austin and have like a awesome place to be at.
So, talk to me about your first experience kind of making your way over to that new wave team because, you know, it's kind of wild, but you were getting in there right as they were kind of getting settled, I'm sure. So, how did you get situated with them?
Well, I did a competition in Austin, like on Enigma. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying competition in Austin. I did Enigma, like an early Enigma, and I won this really cool match. I think I had like a quick heel hook, and then I started going to Henta Gracie Austin in hopes to get invited by John. And then after a week, he asked me to come train at Roca, and that's how it all started.
Nice. And how long have you been training with them now?
I hit 2 years in November, so now I'm at like 2.5 years.
That is incredibly wild because now obviously they have some transition. John's obviously still a part of it, but the day to day has very much changed. For you, how much has that impacted just your day to day? Or is it just become more of the emergence of Gordon just taking that more central role?
John is still a part of my day to day. He teaches every day. Um, it's called Kingsway, but John is still going to be the head instructor. It'll still be the same as it's always been. John is still going to be the core. The core. I know he's talked about retiring before, but I haven't heard anything else about that. So like for now, he's taught every day. He's come in to teach us.
Well, that's nice. I mean, there's definitely not a great jujitsu media, one might say. So when you see these articles are like John Danaher retires, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that
Yeah.
other than he might reduce some of it from the surgeries or need to take some time off. But when they say that, I go, okay, sure. And then you see a brand that gets changed from its name, and you go, okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. So I didn't assume.
I can see.
What's that?
I can see how you would like see that. Like you see Kingsway, and you're like, oh, is John not teaching?
It's less thinking he's out completely and more recognizing sometimes people reduce what they do. Because if you really think about the amount of time he has invested in his students, it's not a short amount of time. Like the amount of tape study he does after he's actually done teaching is incredibly thorough. So it is a commitment. So that was more along the lines of what I was thinking. But yeah, half the time I don't know what to believe from any of this. So I just go like, oh, maybe he's got to take time off to heal. And not even that.
And okay. Yeah.
So, okay. With you doing that now and you being there, what do you see past this PGF season? Like, what are your goals as a grappler in the next year or two?
I definitely like one firm goal is to open a gym one day, obviously. And then as far as competing wise, I don't want to like win a certain title per se. I just want to be an established grappler. So whether that's, I win black belt worlds and I become, this big thing, or I win ADCC and I become this big thing. I just want to do one thing that'll make everyone be like, oh wow, this guy is the best. This guy is, one of the best. So whatever that ends up being, whether that's, CJI, like I don't know what the future holds. Like will ADCC still be around by the time I'm, at that age or whatever there is, I want to do it. So
I will say, I do think ADCC will be around, if only in that they'll be too stubborn to do anything else. But I feel like their history will keep them around. Plus, they'll throw lots of money at it. The real question is, what else is going to emerge? Because even in the past 3 months, we've seen the emergence of the UFCs, UFC BJJ. We don't know what that's going to be like. Now we're seeing pretty notable people involved in that. So that's very cool. That's a different sidetrack. There's going to be exclusive contracts that might limit what we would consider our Super Bowls, like the ability for people to not necessarily get matches with each other. So there's going to be a lot of splits, if you would, almost similar to boxing, where you can't necessarily see the best people fight the best people because they have different politics going on with different things. But it should make us appreciate, hey, man, if we've got a banger of a match that is on paper, that meant a lot of things had to go right. And that's a good thing. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to on my side. But I would tell you that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that makes sense. Like, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, it's the very beginning of it, but that's why when I looked at the cast of UFC BJJ, I was like, oh, I don't know, but I'm going to see them on other cards. And that's going to kind of be a bummer for a couple people where I go, oh man, they'd be really good. Or maybe they get other talent at UFC BJJ brought in that can contest those people and make that just as interesting. It's going to be a lot of uncertainty.
I think the UFC BJJ thing is really cool. Like, I would love to be on like a UFC BJJ card. I think it's like very like innovative, and the bowl, like the bowl thing they did was really funny. Like I was like, whoa. So yeah, I think it's a cool thing. I'd love to be a part of it in the future.
Have you competed in a pit or a bowl yet?
I never have. I really want to find a show where I can compete in a pit because I want to try it out.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. It does quell one of the big things that I have for ADCC, which is I hate people going off the mats. That's just me. I know it's a badge of honor for a lot of people, but I always think about people getting hurt. And I'm always just a little jealous of how in wrestling people can keep it center of mat. And for whatever reason, we don't have our shit together to do that. Like we have those ring outs and we have people starting to game the system that way.
I think there's like in wrestling, there's like you get points for push outs. I think it should be the same way in Jiu-Jitsu. I don't see why not.
I would think so too, man. I just, I'm not in charge of that world. So I just literally look at it.
I'm not even saying going off the mats is bad. I just think sometimes it's unnecessary.
I think it opens for interpretation of how long you let it go. So when they literally are like barricading people off and there's not necessarily a stop in the action, they're letting them go into the concession stands essentially. And I don't know what kind of sport that is. Like in basketball, they don't just keep going into the stands. In other professional sports, there's there. So that's why it's kind of, to me, very funny to see these pits, these bowls. And I go, yeah, I think that's closer to keeping the action there. But
I think that was very good.
Agreed. I also felt like there is one thing I've seen on the pit that I don't know that it's not that I love it, but it does create a new scenario that I wasn't expecting, which is that, when you stand at the top of the pit and you have to come down to where everything is, I've seen a lot of people. Yeah, they do that little slide in, but everybody gets in their zone. And everybody has a different way. So a lot of times it's them. They're like, yeah, let's go. And then as they're about to go, they don't jump down. They literally slide down. So it's them being like, wee. So it goes from being like super intense, like, let's go, wee. And I go, I can't take that seriously because I just start laughing at the person doing it.
That's not even something I've noticed.
Oh, 100%. Go watch it again.
Not even like I've seen people do that. Like I've seen people like roll down like from their
Yeah.
like I just think I never really thought about it. I was just like, oh, like the match is about to start. But that's funny you say that. I guess like it's how people interpret things.
I guarantee you, just the more you pay attention to it, you can't get it out of your head because yeah, unless you do that forward Willy Wonka roll, like jumping, the rest of it is just trying to functionally get down there, and the only way is to kind of slide your way down. So, nonetheless, I wanted to kind of circle with this. You know, obviously these are great things. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. I wanted to make sure you got shine time not only for your very awesome win at the qualifier, but being a part of this very cool season. It's part of history again. And I think it's really cool that you are getting in this young into this ecosystem of the PGF, which I think is going to continue leading to bigger and better things. And obviously, you're part of a great team, so you have a very bright future ahead of you. And honestly, man, I'm intrigued to see if you turn some head this season because I felt like your price point was a little low, but you know, only upside from here, which is you can go show people what you are worth. So, what I'd like to do is I'm going to put the camera on you and feel free to thank any sponsors or thank any people that you want who've been helping you. And yeah, let me know what's good on your side, sir. I'm going to put the camera on you in 3, 2.
Oh, thank you. I mean, thank you for having me on. Let's see. Shout out to my sponsor, Eric the Defender. Shout out Level Black for being my sponsor as well. They're both really amazing people. Clayton and Eric helped me out a ton. Thank you to all my teammates. Thank you to John, Gordon, and Gary for everything. I think I'm going to come into this season and really, like you just said, turn some heads. So I'm looking to do that. So I think I definitely will.
And I need just a verbal nod to your head that you understand and you agree all jokes about you in the season from the friends at the Bullpen are good.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Hey, listen, I got verbal nods and agreements from everybody there. I don't need somebody turning heel when we do them. And I already told you the joke we did about you. I don't even remember if we had a second follow-up one. I think the only thing I mentioned was just the belt standing out. And I didn't know exactly up or down how to feel about it yet. The one thing I'll tell you that's a little controversial, and you can relay this back to Christos, who I do love. Kid's great. Speech, B minus.
B minus speech. Why?
Too long. I felt like 3 speeches in one. And he got an applause break and he then said, no, I've got more. And any performer will tell you, you get out on the applause break. And instead telling people like, no, I have more to say. And you go, audience told you you're done. So I like giving him shit for that, but he's a huge pro wrestling nerd. So there's a part of me that's like, you should know it's going to come from a guy who's done a few speeches or two and a fellow pro wrestling nerd. So
you can say that, but then this dude went for like the 4th highest bid. So,
I'm going to say something controversial here. I don't think it's because of the speech. I think it's his body of work. I think people know that he's good and that he's definitely a guy that people had eyes on before. I don't think that he was just magically like, man, this rousing speech got me. Like, you could make the argument Raphael pulled that off and that he created this bidding war that I was like, damn, that kid really upped his value. Or JJ, who middle of it was like, I'll beat anybody here. And you go, oh yeah, I guess that's going to get the people going. So that's all. B minus.
B minus. Make sure to tell him that.
I'm sure. And I'm sure he's going to have feelings about it, but I'm not wrong. So just say it like that.
I don't even remember what Raphael said, but I do remember what Christos says. I feel like that's the difference.
I mean, you say that because you were wearing his belt, sir. Like, it's a little harder to forget when that's your boy. You can remember that because Raphael 100% also said, I'll beat anybody in this room. And through Christos' very eloquent speech, there wasn't one memorable line as good as that. So, Anyway.
Well, I do remember him saying that he knows the rules better than anyone else in the room.
Yeah, that's good, but that's kind of like a weird nerd thing that only applies to the people in the room. Like, it's like somebody walking into a board game and being like, nobody knows the rules of Monopoly better than me. And you go, yeah, sure, probably, dude, nerd. But if somebody's like, I'll submit everybody in the room, you go, oh shit, would you? Because then you're putting this extra pressure on yourself to say, if you don't submit everybody in this room when the season happens, did you merit that money?
To each their own.
I'm just saying, Landon, this is not a debate for me and you. This is me just being like, hey, listen, I only say it because I love Christos. And afterwards, the one thing I did tell him, and I think you were there for that, was I was looking at him and I was like, bro, we were on a tight schedule. And I almost wanted to come and tell him, like, we got to go. And I didn't do any of that. I didn't jump him. I let him say his piece. But the performer in me and the writer in me that's written tons of speeches that have done very well for a lot of people go, oh, we should be done. You know, like I think your work's here done. Like you can get your money, bro. You're gonna get a good amount. So nonetheless, there is that. Plus he hosts a great tournament. So I love that kid.
He does.
Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this off. I'm going to say bye to you off air, but dude, super stoked for you to be on the season. I feel you're going to do some good stuff and I look forward to seeing it, my man. So thank you very much for the time today.
Dude, thank you. That was an awesome interview.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you off air in just a second, but I'm going to close this bitch up and I'll see you in just a moment.
Peace.
All right, you guys, that is about to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. It really does make a difference for us. And if you didn't know what you wanted to comment on, I will give you a prompt right now. Your prompt is this. What is your go-to order when you go to Panda Express? I need to know this because I learned what his is. And listen, now that Landon's off air, he can't say anything. He's there. He's still here. I see him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of a basic order. Like the fried rice, I get down with, but not doing half and half. I don't know, man. I feel like it's cheating himself because the half and half, the fried rice, noodles, a little bit of that goes really nice. The chow mein, if you would. And then 2 orders of orange chicken. I'm just saying, to each their own. Just seems like a missed opportunity for some other veggies, for some other proteins. Because let's be honest, I'm not exactly sure what's in that orange chicken. They tell me it's chicken, and I don't do any research. I just believe them. So who am I to say? Check that out. Give us that like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us your Panda Express order. You can also find us at Grappling Hour on Patreon. So that's patreon.com/Grappling Hour. Head there, become a member, see these interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra dollars, see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including Roast Raff, the Grappling Hour Challenge, where people try to beat me up, and lots of extra bonus episodes not available anywhere else. And finally, you can also get some Grappling Hour merch. Head on over to raffesparza.com/merch. And you can also check us out on Discord. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. We hope you liked this episode. And that's going to do it for us. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.